No, I'm not playing music. I'm not happy. By the way, you still got to pay for the premium. It's saying it's not working. We're live here, guys. Try to put the premium if you can. Let me see something. While I go, I'm livid, bro.
Are you?
Yeah, I mean, I think
I'm
we should. I think as a fan base, NYCFC fans should be livid. I mean, that was an unacceptable performance, and there's multitudes of reasons why it was an unacceptable performance, but I just don't even know where to begin.
well, we could start on I luckily I didn't get to watch the game. We're live, but I'm in Atlanta for work and I got to see Atlanta play Messi, the Inter Messis, and it was great. And also I think you should turn off the other mic in the room, bro, because you sound like a little bit echoey. So it might be a good idea to do that. Uh, but but yeah, but seeing the game, watching the Atlanta game, and seeing the score be 3-0 at the time that I first looked, I was like, that is crazy. What a meltdown by NYCFC. I saw the highlights afterwards. And whew, that was tough.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to get this premium so we could be live everywhere.
Okay, let's do it. Um,
Upgrade to lock. Nope, I can't do it. Never mind. Whatever. We're live for ourselves. Okay, let's get into this game because I'm already fired up, and we'll get into your whole Messi experience. Cool. Yeah, Messi's fun. Great. I'm glad you experienced that. But let's get into this game. First, if I told you there's a team that will have a backup goalkeeper who's like 18, who's actually 18 years old, and they had a back line that was depleted, lots of guys moving in and out, injury plagued. They had a couple guys with yellow card suspensions that couldn't start that are usually their starters. Would you think the opposing team had a chance of beating them?
at Yankee Stadium? Absolutely not.
No, oh no, you're not. You missed how I sprained it. But yes, you would think a team
Yes.
that doesn't have a good goalkeeper, that doesn't have a good starting back line, would win. And they didn't
Yes.
win. And they didn't win convincingly. They lost badly, historically bad. Like, I'm talking about the worst loss we've ever had to Philly. We just experienced right now, 5-1. You know what was we doubled it. The we had a goal differential of -2 was our worst loss to them. We made it 4. And you know what? We
Wow.
keep breaking records under Cushing's helm. We break losing streaks. It's 8 unbeaten now, and it just keeps continuing and continuing. It's ridiculous. And it's not even that we lost, it's how we lost. Like let's break it down. Let's break it down because it's about not winning duels. Like the hustle stats. Let's look at the hustle stats because the hustle stats is what drives me crazy. Who had
Mhm.
more tackles won? They did. 11 to our 1. Who won more duels? 53 to our 43. Those are basically hustle stats. That shows you who's going all out and who knows these games are the most important. Yes, Philly is lower in the table, but that doesn't mean we're locked in a playoff spot. We play
Mhm.
tough team after tough team after tough team. What do we have next? Miami. We have Red Bulls next. Then we have Cincy somewhere in there. This is crazy to think that we have anything locked up right now, and we're playing like this, 5-1. Like people should be mad. People have the right to be mad.
A
I'm sorry.
100%. What a rant. What a rant. You know what I found really interesting too, though? Someone who hasn't watched the game, explain it to me. And maybe it's all hustle. It's got to be some type of mentality too. Looking at the stats, like the offensive stats, you would think that NYCFC won this game. I'm looking at it here. NYCFC has 26 shots to Philly's 12 shots. 9 shots on target versus Philly's 7 shots on target. 64% possession versus Philly's 36% possession. And 603 passes versus Philly's 340 passes. If I read those stat lines to you, you would think that and we should have won the game.
Yeah, and we didn't. And a lot of that is just because it looks like we were dominating, but it's because we were playing behind the whole time so they could play back. And you know what? Teams have found the winning formula against us. The winning formula is press us and we will fall and we will crack because we don't know how to deal with that press. They pressed us early. DC, when we were against, you know what? I was upset because I wanted to talk about how we failed against DC United. And I was like, oh, we're going to come back and we're going to have a semi-okay game. And then we could be like, oh yeah, we're a good team. We're an average team. You know what? We win some, we lose some. But this is the exact reason why I'm kind of happy this result happened, because we're not that good of a team. And we keep showing that we're young and we're going to make mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. Like it's really the bottom of it all. Like, and yes, we could get into the goals. I mean, the first goal, I can't even remember. I'm just so furious right
It was bearable.
because it was just easy goals that we left. Yeah, and it was a header that shouldn't have been scored. A deflection that then ends up on his left foot that he scores. Then Gazdag in the 32nd minute. That was a Matt Freese mistake. And when Matt Freese is having a bad night, you know it's going to be an off day. You know what I mean? Like that's when you know the team is struggling. And one of the things that drives me crazy, if we look at their subs this game, like let's go over their subs. Who did we sub out? We sub out our best striker. We know this at this time. He's clearly our best striker. There's nobody else that we have. It's true on Earth. We got a comment. It says, "Hey fellas, we are still talking about this. Unfortunately, it's true. But what on earth we playing?
We playing like trash."
Yeah. So yeah, we playing like trash. That's really what we. I mean, Martinez gets subbed out in the 58th minute. Now, okay, I want to understand the reason. He scores right before half. He gives us the little glimpse of hope that we needed. Then we get Maxi out in halftime. So we're like, okay, this game could turn around. I kind of understand not putting Maxi to start. You want him to have fresh legs. He kind of played long the last game. Whatever. It's a short week, 3-game turnaround. I get it. But then you take out Martinez in the 58th minute. In my head, I'm like, okay, he really wants Martinez to start. Nick Cushing really wants Martinez to start in against Miami, and he doesn't want him to have depleted legs. But then we go into the press conference, and he mentions him being not being in preseason. Who cares? Who cares about who's in preseason, who's not in preseason, who's warmed up? We talked to Alonso Martinez after the game. Alonso Martinez says, I can go a full 90, but I have to respect the coach's decision. You're our best striker. We see he's our only deadly striker. And we see we have a lack of scoring. Parks had not his best game. And offensively, he could not score the ball. It hit the goalpost. He shot it right to the goalkeeper. Like, if we don't have many players out there who are going to score for us, what are we doing? Like why are you subbing out the one guy who can score for us?
No, I agree.
We have a comment from Davey. He says, you guys, I've been saying this since 2022. Cushing is shit. I've never been so embarrassed to be correct. Any Cushing truthers out there need to wake up. What a waste of time going to watch this. It was a debacle performance. And you know what? The fans let him know about it. After the game, I'm walking out of the stadium. The fans are outside of the stadium where they usually are, waiting for the players and stuff like that. Nick Cushing comes out and you hear, I'm driving away in my car and you hear jeers. You hear like people upset. I hear basically a F you. And like, it looked like it was getting heated, but nobody went up to him, but it was clear visibly that people were frustrated. People were upset. I heard some fans talking to Tana, and they're like, this isn't good enough. We're going into Miami. This isn't good enough. We can't see this performance again. It's just unacceptable, man. And it's unacceptable. Tallis has got his eyes showing like I knew all this along because ever since the Tallis Magno debacle.
Tallis is like, you guys should be watching Corinthians because my boy Magno's having the time of his life out there.
I saw Salami. I always say your name wrong, but she said, hey, it was good to see you tonight. What are your thoughts for Saturday's game? I'm fuming. I want it to be better. It's going to be a sold out crowd. It's going to be sold out. We already know this it's projected that the whole stadium is going to fill out. This is our showcase to really show that we are we can pick up a lot of new fans this way. If you look out today, it was an empty stadium. Now we can go into Saturday, play against the best team in the league, play against Messi, and show them that we are a fun team to watch. But if we come out like we did today, nobody wants to see that. Who wants to see that? Nobody.
Yeah. And I think sometimes this team thinks that they can turn it on when they need to. Bro, I'm hearing an echo. But that they can turn it on when they need to and not have to be consistent. And I think that is not the right way of seeing this. Like, you need to be consistently good players. And we see this. Like, if they are down 1-0 and it's about to hit, stoppage time, they turn it on and they're like, okay, we're going to try now. And it's like, no, you are not that type of team. You do not have that type of talent. You need to be working the full 90 minutes. And I think they came in here potentially, they had a bad game. You can see the mentality sticking around. Like, they never shook off that last game. And I think that comes a little bit from coaching. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get your players out of that funk. And we're not seeing that. So I think you got to put this on Cushing. And it's sad, man, because I think we have some talent here. And to see them missing this poorly, not even missing, I mean, like, missing, like, their potential is what's a real killer, man. And I felt like even from just a little bit that I got to capture before we recorded this, it felt like this team wasn't there mentally on the pitch. And for it to be that type of mental performance at Yankee Stadium at home, it's embarrassing.
No, and one of the questions I had for Nick Cushing is, do you feel like your guys were looking ahead to Miami instead of this game? Like, think about these players. They know there's a big game coming out on Saturday. They know the crowd it's going to be a packed stadium. Oh, did they want to wait to show out there? Did they think, oh, we'll get away with this game, we'll win easy, but let's really focus on the Miami game? I asked Keaton Parks about that. He said, well, no, I don't think that was people's mentalities. And I don't think anybody's going to openly admit that that was their mentality. But from the first 20, how they scored 3 goals in the first 30 minutes. Some of that's got to be attributed to not being focused. Why are they not focused those first 30 minutes of the game?
Yeah. 100%.
Who is the guy holding them accountable? That's the thing that's driving me a little crazy too. Like, is there anybody in that locker room calling out people? Because maybe there has to be someone. Who's the bad guy in that locker room? And I when I was speaking to Thiago Martins after the game, he was like, what help does it do to, like, shout at each other and stuff like that? Maybe there needs to be calling out in front of the whole locker room. You need to be called out because you didn't perform the way you should have. And then, you know what? If somebody calls me out in front of everybody else, I'm going to show up the next game. I'm going to show you what I'm made of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed.
It has to be, I don't know.
Yeah,
and some fan comments. I was invited by the team to sit in the Delta 360 Sky Suites. I arrived happy and left sad. Wow, let's hope, Daniel, at least you left full.
my dude flew in Delta, left Spirit.
This is a game that tells me Keaton needs to go. We need to see him's new direction in the club. You know what? Keaton has had some amazing games this season, but he gets himself into great positions where all he has to do is finish. But games like that, I can't even. You have to be able to finish, especially because you have been deemed one of the captains of this team. You know what I mean? It's not like you're just another player. No, you are part of that leader squad that Nick Cushing said. You do have to finish those chances.
Yeah. Also, I looked up the stat. Keaton Parks has 2 goals this year. Not great. And the last goal was in May. So I think offensive, but I do think he does bring a lot of offensive power. You know what I mean? I think he had a tough game. He did lose a lot of opportunities, but I'm not sure. I mean, he's a staple of this team, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to let Parks go because of this game. I think that might be a little bit of overreaction, honestly. Um, so
Uh,
yeah, that's how I feel.
Izzy says, I'm glad I didn't bother showing up tonight. I decided to just stay home after work. I won't be surprised if the club missed the playoff against because everyone is catching up. Yeah, I think we should be grateful that we played strong early in the season. And I will preface this and say that we did have a lot more home games early in the season. But even in these last stretch of games, we've been at home and we haven't capitalized. How did we tie to a Chicago Fire who was one of the last teams in the East? How did we go to DC United and only score one goal when they allowed the third most amount of goals in the league? Not in the East, in the league.
Facts.
That's not good enough.
Agreed. And you know what? We didn't talk about this from last game, but the past two games, and you mentioned it on that Instagram post you made, is like the refs playing a big impact. But I am not happy with Cushing going and saying the refs are the reason we lost this game. I know they gave that Alonso Martinez should have been reviewed. It might have been a goal last game, and I know Ted Uncle's Ted Uncle in that last game. But I really think, as a good leader, you need to say, yeah, the refereeing sucked, but we still need to play past the refereeing. We need to play past the talent on the other side, and we need to be the best version of ourselves. The moment you start deferring losses to like another party instead of reflecting on yourself, I think that's an immature mentality, man. And I think I was a little disappointed to hear Cushion blame so much the talent and Parks blame the talent instead of, not the talent, the refs, versus blaming themselves, because there were other opportunities to win the game. And I think that mentality of it's not our fault, we're doing okay, is coming and flowing to these future games, and you're seeing poor mentality in these future games. And I think it's a big reason why we lost today, as I mentioned before.
Yeah, no, I agree. I talked to and Matt Freeze. It was funny. He was asked the question. He's like, "Did you see anything new in Philly from Philly tonight?" And he said, "No. The only no." He said, "Did Philly do anything to surprise you?" He's like, "No. The only thing that surprised me was us, basically." It's not fucking good enough, man. Like and we're a young team, but somebody has to be accountable. And even though we're a young team, before the season, we asked Nick Cushing, do you feel like there's enough leadership? Or do you feel like this team is good enough? He said, I'm the one who picked the team. If you're the one that picked the team, you are held accountable for results like this. It's just it's unfucking acceptable, man.
And so what do you think? Do you think it was all mentality? What else do you contribute to the loss of this team? Do you think it's poor coaching? Where do you fall?
Well, I think it's mentality. I think it's horrible substitution when you have your best striker who's been your only striker for as long as we know he's the only guy to score goals for us, and you sub him out. You're basically telling the team you're giving up on this game. That's the only way I can see it. You put in Munsa Bakar and Hovan. We've seen that experiment. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Let's
And this
go.
is from the man who wants to clap for him on the 9th minute. All right. So
I
if
wanted
he's
him to
giving
be
up,
his stats underlying were decent, but I'm
yeah,
sorry, he doesn't score goals, and that's what a striker's supposed to do. Let's
yeah.
get to some questions. We need Charles.
Carlos Gil type.
Yeah,
He's trying to
Carlos
say.
Heel type. We need a CM profile player that can help us retain possession, but also has a passing range to create constant danger at the right times. I agree with
And
that.
this is kind of tied to what I was talking about. We talk about Cam. Is Santi good enough, man? I know we talked about the last podcast, and I feel like it's going to this. Today I saw Saba. Have you heard of this guy Saba, midfielder for Atlanta? Bro, he was spectacular. Like I saw Saba out there, and Saba was obviously before Suarez and Messi hit the pitch and Jordi Alba, he was like just obviously the best player on the pitch, and he was definitely the best player for Atlanta. and I see that talent where he's able to pass the ball, he's able to make his own opportunities. And I go, who is the Saba of NYCFC? And so it's just also some of the talent. Santi isn't Saba. Santi isn't, you know, Messi, of course, which doesn't make sense to like do that. But it's just, I contribute this loss to Cushing, but I look back and go, do we really have the talent to go far? I just don't know if it's there.
Christian says it's mentality, poor team selection, and bad management. All things that the manager is responsible for. I can't even blame him. It's true. Our last win, it was against Rodriguez in August. And if we go back to actual MLS season games, we got to go back to June or July, early June,
July 3rd. July 3rd. Yeah.
July 3rd. That's insane, man.
Although I would say, you know, I've heard that stat thrown out there a lot, and just to defend the team a little bit, everyone kind of forgets there was Leagues Cup, so there was like no soccer for 2 months.
So wait, I get what you're saying. So you're saying most of those games contributed. So it seems longer than an actual. It's still a game, which is a long ass time.
Yeah. Agreed.
That we can't deny.
Agreed.
And talking about like losing streaks. In the 10 years we went from having Patrick Vieira coaching, David Villa, Frank Lampard, and Pirlo to winning it all in 2021 to completely being reduced to rubble. Yeah, I mean, and the problem is there's no plans to, I think, get star players in the near future. I think it's all beholden on this stadium coming in 2027, I think it is, or 2026. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be the roster. This is going to be the roster for the next 2 years. So what we have now is what we're going to have for the next 2 years. I don't see it drastically changing.
Wait, why do you think that?
Because they brought these guys because they're young players to grow into this stadium. The plan is to keep Santi long term. The plan is to maybe have Wolf here long term. Like these guys are planning. They're planning to stay. And one thing about Wolf, Wolf's been struggling lately. Like Wolf is running into the Santi issue where they try to over dribble and they don't do the easy pass. They overcomplicate themselves. Mm-hmm. Christian says, say what you want about Santi. He's extremely productive. The defense doesn't concede very much overall. The problem is we go up a goal, take our foot off the gas, and then drop points.
I mean, it's a good point. That doesn't really explain this game, but I do agree that a lot of the draws that we had recently or losses that we've had have been by us taking our foot off the gas. And I think, once again, it all goes back to mentality. I do think the biggest weakness of this team is mentality, which is really interesting because a month and a half ago, we were talking about penalty kicks and Leagues Cup. And wow, look at how mature this team has become working through adversity. And a month later, it feels like we've completely regressed. Like we got too cocky, too confident, and we thought we could beat the easy teams easily, live up to the big teams because, you know, we had played really well for a while against the Crew. And now we're not the same team. We're not the same team. And so I don't know, man. And I agree. Like I feel like
we take 2 steps forward and then 5 steps back. And it's like we're at the point of the season where you can't take 5 steps back anymore. You also can't you can't be looking at the past saying, "Oh, we're making progress." The progress, this is it. The last couple games of the regular season determine how you're going to do in the playoffs, if you even make it. When we won that MLS Cup, what did we do? We went on a streak for the last 3-4 games in the regular season, and we brought that into the playoffs, and we were dynamic throughout the playoffs. If we stumble into the playoffs, win 1 out of 5, draw 3, like, that's not gonna make you feel like you have a winning team. And does the team start losing, a young team start losing faith that they aren't good enough to compete against these big teams? And now we're going into a game that's the strongest team in the East, the strongest team in the league right now with Messi. I don't know how we're gonna play, and I don't even know what our style is to go in there. Like, how can we even win that game? We got some comments because you don't know how we're gonna win that game yet. I don't get Cushing subbing Martinez off, acting like he hasn't been there all year. Let's put in two guys who can't score, remove our best scorer. Yeah, and that drove me crazy. And that's I said it earlier in the episode, but for people who just joined, like, okay, and I get it if he said after the game in his press conference, oh, it's because I wanted him fresh for Miami because he did play against DC. I want him fresh for Miami. But no, he went back to, oh, he didn't get a preseason with us and he didn't start early in the game. No, that should not be a reason. I lost credibility with that. Like, that shouldn't be the reason why you don't play him. It should be that you want him fresh for Miami. That's more of a reason than anything than to just sub out your best goal scorer when we're down 2 goals at that point.
Yeah, man, like if you're going to lie to us, at least give us a good lie. Don't be giving us some bullshit lie like it's the preseason. It's 9 months since the preseason. That doesn't make any sense anymore.
Christian says, under Cushing's watch, we've seen 2 of the 3 worst winless streaks in club history. I want this guy put in Rikers for his
You know what though? Something to consider, right? Something I was thinking about after this 5-1 loss. Maybe this is what the team needs. Maybe not making the playoffs is what the team needs to make real change, including a coaching change. Because if we get into the playoffs and we win 1 round somehow, you know what I mean? You could come back and say, young team, didn't have the thing, had some injuries, blah, 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 blah. And then we're in the same thing. We're talking the same thing next September. Maybe this is the gut punch needed for the team to really reflect and say, maybe we need change.
Yeah, actually, it was funny because Cushing's going out of the stadium, and a fan was like, maybe this is the gut punch we needed to really show these players like we can't play like this. And he didn't really say much. This is told by Michael from Blue City Radio. But yeah, so hopefully this is the gut punch. And the good thing about it is, I mean, you could say it as a bad thing and a good thing. It's a short turnaround. You could get over this game. You can have an amazing game against Messi and Inter Miami, and that could kind of change the whole tune of this conversation, right? Now you just beat the best team in the East. The problem is the team is so inconsistent. They can play so great against Columbus, one of the best teams in the league, and then play so bad against the Chicago Fire or DC United and only score 1 goal against one of the worst defenses in the league. You get me? Like,
exactly.
It's just too inconsistent. I like Christian. He says, you guys need a phone line. We did have a phone line for our other stream, but my phone's dead right now, so I can't even get it going. It's a wave, but it's on, but it's like 2%. But come on, we're gonna have more phone where you could just call in and vent.
I think there was more to that thing that you're forgetting.
Brother says, don't forget, it's all about injury. That's a problem, City Boys. Who's injured? Malachi? Malachi Jones. Who else? Burke Reese. Yes, Burke Reese is a big loss. I agree with that. Burke Reese is a big loss. But other than that, I mean, there wasn't anybody else really injured.
Exactly. And Burke Reese doesn't explain. Burke Reese being out doesn't explain us not being able to score against the worst defenses, right? Maybe it contributes to some of the goals we gave up today. But you know what? I look back at those goals, man, and it felt like that second goal where they did a header and then that guy was right next to Matt Freese and he scored it in. Where was the defense? You know what I mean? I saw James Sands there. I saw Thiago Martins. And it's like, it's this thing, and it's kind of what you talked about in the beginning of the episode where we just start ball watching. We ball watched last game. I don't know what it is with this team, but they just give up on plays halfway through. And it's terrible. And I really think that's tied to the coach. And, so you have a coach who's not motivating his team. So there's low motivation. They're also just not there, like, emotionally strong and making, like, the right, persisting through games. And then he's making bad substitutions. Like, the more you look at it, the more it feels like it's just Cushing fucking up, man.
Let's see, more comments. Maybe, but if we squeak into the playoffs and get bounced early, he should still be gone. The results don't match the talent. Yeah, I guess that's another, I guess a bigger question. If we do get into the playoffs, we get 1 win, 1 loss. We get eliminated first game. Does that warrant that we? I mean, we did better than last year.
But I guess, do you think, and Christian, you could respond to this too. Like, do you think if the same team was coached by, Pep, which is an exaggeration, we're not going to get Pep, but if the same exact rosters on Pep, are we winning the cup? Like, do we have the talent to win the cup?
I mean, when we talk to Brad Sims, when we talk to David Lee,
Of course, they're going to say that.
What I'm saying is they admitted that last year they did not build a good enough roster to win. So they came into this season and they said, we did build a good enough roster for you to win. And they said, this is a championship caliber team. And it might not be this year. It might not be next year, but it might be like what I was saying. It's years from now. Like, this is a long-term project. But at the same time, are we at where we think we should be at this point? And I don't think I think it's already been enough games. There's been already enough gelling with these players that we should be able to beat teams that are worse than us.
Agreed.
Or then these teams aren't worse than us, and we're just a middle of the road team, maybe a below the playoff line team.
I don't think we're below the playoff team because we've seen the ceiling and it's high. When this team is running on all cylinders, it's a good team. Do I really think that we really, really have the talent to win it? I don't know. I don't know if we do. Like, I saw Atlanta play, which is a team that's not in a great place, but I see some players that play for Atlanta. I see some players that played for Miami, watch some other games in MLS, and I see talent, like real, just like refined talent. And I don't know if we look at anyone in our team and go, for exception, I guess, Maxi Morales, but the man's, 36, 37 years old, where I see really refined talent on this team that goes, man, we can build around that guy, and we are a championship team. At this point, I really don't see it. And I'm not trying to take away from Cushing. I think Cushing's also hurting the progress of the young talent so they could grow into that. I think he's been hurting that because we've seen some of our best players take steps back. But I also say, like, maybe it's just not the right team, man. I don't know. Maybe we're exaggerating, but
well, we're fired up. So, Cup maybe. So Christian answered your question about the better manager. Cup maybe, but at least Eastern Conference final spot. If a good manager was in charge, Tallis would still be here, and Bakar would be in a wrap. Oof, that is rough. But the Tallis thing, I agree. Tallis would still be here, even though I would preface that I do feel like that's not all on Cushing, who wanted Tallis to play the 9. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I've only heard from other people, but I can't go any further than that. But I don't think it was fully Cushing's idea to keep rolling out that Tallis should be the number 9. And then it goes back to your guys' whole conversation is Cushing is the ultimate CFG puppet. I mean, yes, you could feel that way. And there might be some truth to this. So that's all I'm going to say. Every team does. Rarely do you see a professional team generally lack enough talent to win. It's the coach's job to shape the team into the one that wins with the talent it has. Herman says we should be further along. I agree. And I feel like at times we show that we are that team, and at times we show that we are completely not that team. And the inconsistency is because this team's so young and there's a lack of leadership in coaching and I think with players on the field. I don't think he is getting fired. I spoke to a Yankees fan, and he says he's keeping Cushing long terms. This is the trust the process team.
I don't get the correlation between the Yankees fan making a Cushing long term. I don't get it. Do you get it?
No, I'm assuming Yankees trust the process. I mean, Yankees do trust the process, I think.
I think the Yankees were like, wait, you're keeping Cushing? I got to sell 10% of my ownership stake.
Well, this is a good point. Don't forget he froze Tallis out. Once he played, he was effective. Then he was gone because he was left to rot. I think that they had the writing on the wall for Tallis because we know at the end of last year, Tallis asked to be traded.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he couldn't have played him this season. Like, that was ridiculous. I mean, if he would have played him this season, they could have gotten more money for him or not had to loan him out to Corinthians the way it ended. So I agree with Christian. Like, yes, last year he might have been pushed to put him as striker by the higher level people, but this year that was just him deciding not to play Magno. And we all know that from Magno's camp, and I think we know that that's just what Cushing felt like. And I've always said this about my man's like Cushing is that he plays the people that play hard for him, not the most talented players. And that is not, I think, the right formula. You got to figure out how to work. You got to find a way to get the most talented players to work for you instead of saying, oh, you think you're a superstar? You're not going to listen to me. I'm just not going to play you. Like, I think that was completely mishandled by by Cushing about Magno. So that's just not the right way of coaching.
This is a good point.
Oh, and Chanot.
Yeah, Kacha, Chanot, and Tiago.
Yo, why am
I
I
would say
blanking
the
out on
Chanel one
Kacha?
primarily. Yeah, I agree with that because we know the rumors there. But Christian actually answered the other. I've heard the rumors; they're not true. It's deliberate misinformation from the club. They never reveal anything, and we never got drops of info. But that leaks. Not that's damage control. I think he's talking about Tallis playing the 9. Like if that was coming from higher ups versus Nick Cushing. Yankees fans equals David Leo from that other guy's
Oh, got it.
Where was I going with this? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We need to do more. All right, we're going into Miami. But you know what? One thing, the last thing about the Tallis thing. While the Tallis thing never worked for him to play the number 9, it's crazy that the Alonso Martinez has worked because Alonso Martinez was a winger before, and they converted him to a striker, and he has the final touch. He can do it. He's a natural at the position. So it's kind of interesting how they keep doing these winger projects to make them strikers, and then the strikers we get don't do anything.
Yeah.
But you were just at Atlanta versus United tonight versus Messi. Give us a little preview. How was the atmosphere? If you had to guess, I'm going to check right now, but if you had to guess, what do you think the attendance was?
I think the attendance was probably, I think it might have been, if I had to guess, I would say maybe 40,000, 50,000 people. It felt energetic. And I've never been to Atlanta United's Mercedes-Benz Stadium before, so I don't know what the turnout typically is, but it was packed. And I would say it wasn't just a Messi show. Like, it was loud for Atlanta. There were a lot of Messi jerseys, but it was a good mix. So, like, the atmosphere was just electric the entire game. And I really hope that transfers to Yankee Stadium. Although I think with the way the team is playing, it's going to be more the Messi show than, like, us being there, right? Like NYCFC supporters. So that's going to scare me a little bit.
So would you say it was a more Atlanta United crowd or more of an Inter Miami crowd / Messi?
I would say it was maybe 60% Atlanta, 40% Messi. But when Messi got on the pitch, because Messi did not start the game, Messi came in around the 60th minute, the entire stadium blew up. It was like a superstar hit the pitch. And I think what was really interesting was the way Miami played pre-Messi and post-Messi. They played the game through Campana. They didn't even have Jordi Alba in the starting lineup. They didn't have Luis Suarez playing. So it was what is it, Kremchi or whatever his name is, Campana. They were the ones like driving the team, and the team was fast. You can tell that Miami kind of lacks defense, but what they do is they make up for it with like a high attacking, a very fast offense. They're making passes quickly. They're able to just move the ball from crossing into the box, and the ball just moves really nicely, man. Even without Messi on the pitch, like, they are a well-coached team. They know where their players are going to be, and they get that pass to them. And 0.2 seconds before you can find the pass, they've already found the pass before they even have the ball. the ball's getting to them and they've already found the next teammate that it's going to go to. It was impressive. It was actually really interesting because when Messi came into the game, it actually messed up the flow of that team. Like the game became less about scoring and it became more about can we get the ball to Messi. And so they weren't as fluid as they were before Messi was in it. And what was Atlanta doing? They were blocking Messi's lanes. So they knew, okay, there's only a certain amount of ways that Messi can get the ball from these players. We're going to block those lanes. And Messi's not running around. Messi looks slow, bro. I couldn't believe it. He looks slow. We know he doesn't play defense anymore, but even on offense, he wasn't looking to run. And so it was easy to stop those lanes and not even let him get the ball. But he still got opportunities, of course. They still got it to him. He still tried. They had a chance to score a goal, and twice, like it was 2 bounces off the goalkeeper. But I think there's 2 different game plans we need to have. It's like the Messi game plan with Luis Suarez and Jordi Alba, and just the Miami team without them, because they're very, very different teams. But regardless of how we stop them defensively, I think we're going to have tons of opportunities offensively. Like Atlanta was burning the back line of Miami, and they couldn't do anything about it. And they had multiple, I don't know how many shots they had, but they had so many shots that just weren't on target. So I think if we can find a way to bring our offensive magic back, this can be a high-scoring game. Because I think Miami finds a way to score, bro. You're not getting 0-0 games in Miami because they don't have a great defense. They have a lot of unoffensive firepower.
Yeah, but you just saw a record playing against shitty defenses. DC United 1-1. Philadelphia with a depleted backline and an 18-year-old goalkeeper 5-1. Like, I'm not feeling very optimistic. My whole thing is, we know, Daniel says, you'll see New York sports fans at Yankee Stadium on Saturday. There will be a mix of Messi fans and fans of other sports teams in New York City. Yeah, it's gonna be like if celebrities come out. It's going to just be like celebrities, fiasco, people who just want to see the Messi show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to happen. What I'm saying is this is a huge opportunity for NYCFC to get a new fan base. Now, if we see guys that are cooking on our team, wouldn't that want you to be like, oh, I got to check out this New York team? I mean, I just came here to see Messi, but like this team's actually fun to watch. We need to play fun soccer. It should be entertaining. Yes. And we play up to our competition and we play down to a shittier team. We just need to play up to the competition this game. And like, this is a great opportunity to catch an audience that we wouldn't ever get to see because nobody else, they're not coming to see NYCFC. They're coming to see Messi, but you could put on a great product and be like, wow, I want to see this team play now.
Yeah, it's really bad timing for us to completely fucking suck.
Yeah, I mean, if they would have saw us a little earlier, it might have been a little more entertaining. Let's read some comments. I feel like the MLS sort of entered an era where it tried to abandon the retirement league label, and NYCFC was one of the teams they try to really go along with that. But truth is, Miami is cooking. Yeah, sometimes you get these stars who are stars, and LAFC is cooking. And they keep getting star after star after star. And we talked about this multiple times already, but like you got to have a mixture of young players with aging stars and it just gels. And if you could keep turning over the star and just having another star to replace that guy, why can't we do that? We are fucking New York City. Like we should be able to attract some of these star players.
Yeah, the Knicks have been getting old star players every year that end up sucking for that team.
If they cook on Saturday, they could turn the season around. I agree. I don't know if I agree with that because we've seen it. We'll cook one team, we'll do great, we'll do everything right, and then the next game will fall apart. So I don't know if I agree with that, but it would be a good momentum shifter if we do that.
Yeah, and my thing is I just don't know if the team is mentally strong enough to come out of a 5-1 loss and come out being superstars on Saturday. Like, I just don't see that from this team.
We're burning the food on Saturday.
The most crispiest chicken bucket we've ever had.
I will bring KVD, Gandanga, and Fire Nick Cushing any day. Davi 2025, make NYC great again. Those Grizzlies about to be extra crispy. All right, I think I'm done. It's 12:30 in the morning. This was fun hanging, guys.
Yeah, this
Next
was
time we'll have
awesome.
the phone lines open. Hopefully Messi doesn't cook us too bad.
We'll be there. It's gonna be fun. Hopefully, it's a fun game. Yeah, man, this was cool. I loved your rant in the beginning. I like when you're fired up. We get the best Javier when we lose, though. So sometimes we need that.
Well, it's been a long time since you got an excited, fun Javier. Appreciate you, Christian.
Love you too.
Let me just read this last one. I'm just praying for a miracle or masterclass on Saturday. Cushing, please pray to Jesus Christ. All right, I'm out. I can keep reading these comments. Wait, let me put the outro music. Peace, y'all.
Peace.